You know, if you take everything I've accomplished in my entire life and condense it down into one day, it looks decent.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of The Decent Show.
Nailed it.
Did I say it as quick as I could?
Yeah. Dude.
Almost.
Knocked that rust off.
Whew. It is Ryan and Reagan back, and we are going to be reviewing one of the hottest shows on television, probably the only show Amazon has that's worth noting, and that is The Boys.
A lot of people like that Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. Is it still going?
I believe so.
No, fine.
I mean, they only have two seasons. I would imagine it's still going.
It came out like 4 years before
The Boys?
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie to you. They also have that show Hannah, which I hear is good, but
You're right. I didn't mean to poop on you, Amazon. I actually haven't really watched any of your shows.
I mean, they don't have much. Let's be honest.
I want to see that Al Pacino one.
What is that one? What is it
Mine
called?
Hunters or Hunters or whatever.
Yeah, that one might be good. And they're gonna come out with like a Lord of the Rings one. But yeah, it's probably their only
The Boys! But yeah, we're not even talking about The Boys. But if they have a Lord of the Rings one, that'd be interesting.
That would be. I don't know if it'd be good.
I said 5 years. It came out in 2018. It just feels like
it's
so
the
long
same
ago.
as The Boys, basically.
Boys came out in
2019. That's right. Dude, they turned around 2 seasons real quick.
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm really happy they did that, honestly.
Yeah, Jack Ryan hadn't even done season 3 yet. What a bunch of scrubs.
Bums.
Telling you, they're pumping The Boys out and Mandalorian out because it's the hottest content.
And I feel like one of them is working better than the other.
Because like Family Guy made that joke. They're like, oh, thanks for watching season 1. Season 2 coming out in 3 years.
Yeah.
Whereas Mando and Boys have come out immediately.
Yeah. And they should, because, well, The Boys should.
Yes.
Mandalorian, I don't know.
They could have used a little more time.
Oh, yeah, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, not pad the plot so much. Anyway, The Boys.
Yes, The Boys. This is a review for The Boys. Season 2.
Season 2. And
I'm surprised how long it took us to watch it.
Me too, because I'm looking at this video right here, and it's like ending explained, so it's obviously the last episode came out.
Right, and that's a month
That's
ago.
a month ago. So the show has been out. The first episode of the show's been out for probably 2 or 3 months.
Right, and everyone's watched it, reviewed it, consumed it, and we're bringing it to you now, last.
Exactly. Someone's gonna be there first. We'll be there last.
Last
it's like
on
that
the
Seinfeld joke of like first responders. Like back in the day, hey, I'm here first. That's it. I can't really do anything else.
But I'm here.
We're here last, and we still can't do anything.
But we're going to hopefully give you...
Quality content.
Quality. All right, so where do you want to start with this season? I'll be honest with you.
There's a million things we can talk about.
things.
There's literally... we're going to miss something, and I'm going to hate myself for it.
Okay, let's
just not do it.
Let's just not talk about the show. Let's just go home. I'm going to hone in on Storefront then. I'm just going to get it right off the bat with the juicy stuff, but I'm going to start off with... Spoilers, yeah. Early Storefront, though, because... the turn that her character took in a mere 8 episodes
is insane.
Insane.
And it doesn't feel forced. Or it doesn't feel like, wow, this is all happening so quickly.
fast.
Yeah.
It happened pretty naturally. I mean, granted, because we're talking 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if they can develop a character in a 2-hour movie, then developing a character in 8 hours makes sense. But it still blows me away at what I thought of her at the beginning of the season and what I think of her now at the end of the season. Never would have thought I would have gotten there. Never saw her character going in that direction. Like, I'm just blown away at her character alone.
Yeah.
But I guess now in terms of, like, watching other popular TV shows, I guess it kind of makes sense what they introduce. Like, let's say it's a hot show. I'm just, I don't know anything about Game of Thrones because I didn't watch it, but I'm assuming Game of Thrones falls into this trap. I think Weeds did it a lot. Just other shows I've watched that are kind of like this in a way, to where they introduce a character, that character becomes a huge part of the show, and then dies.
Yeah. It was just shocking in her case because I feel like there was so much more we could have talked about with her.
Right.
Well, we don't even know if she's dead.
We don't know if she's dead.
They claim she's alive, and her injuries were really bad, but...
She literally broke Kimiko's neck, and then 2 seconds later, she's back up.
True.
So anything's possible.
Yeah, and she's still got one arm. So she's literally Anakin right there. She's literally Anakin.
Wait, what?
She's Anakin, like...
With the way she's all charred up?
Yeah, like she's charred up and 3 of her limbs are missing.
Yeah, that's what I thought of, too.
So I didn't really put that together until we watched it a second time.
Yeah. Okay, well, now that I've just pointed this out, too, Kimiko got her neck broken and gets back up and is fine. But her
Right.
brother, who I honestly thought was more powerful, had his neck broken.
He seemed like he could do way more damage.
Yeah, and granted, he got his arms broken to shit by Stormfront, and got his neck broken by Stormfront. So they both have had their neck broken by Stormfront, but Kimiko lived and he didn't. I just don't know what to think about
She
that.
ripped his hands off. She just ripped his hands off.
I know.
Or broke them off.
Yeah, which was gross.
It was insane. It was disgusting.
But again, he died. So like Stormfront lived through what she lived through. Kimiko lived through a broken neck. He got his hands torn and his neck broke, but he didn't live. I don't know. I find that a little interesting, I guess.
Some of the...
I mean, obviously people have to die. We can't have all these people running around, but like...
That's true. But, and like, you get the sense that even though, like, Homelander, he's like Superman in his powers, and then like Starlight, she can take a hit, but you get the feeling that she could die. Like
Very easily.
Homefront could tear her in half, perceivably, or
Because he was going to do it on that elevator.
or they hit her with a 50 cal in the first season like a couple of times, or once. But if they hit her a couple of times, would it have killed her? Like 3 or 4 times, would it have killed her? And then they realize.
Carl Urban seemed to think so because he was almost going to take her out.
Yeah.
In that one episode.
But they never think to use that on Homelander, implying that it would not work.
Yeah, headshot.
Yeah, so there are different levels. It is weird, though, that a kid, granted, he may be the most powerful kid, like, he may be the most powerful of any of these people, we don't know yet, was able to cut her down, even though she took, like, a blast from Homelander. Which, that was a weird sex scene.
Yeah.
That was an interesting sex scene. You texted me about it, like, dude, this is wild. What is going on here?
It was not like anything I've ever seen. Because I don't even, like... I could never watch this show with, like, my parents, for example.
Good God.
But if I were to describe the show to them, they'd be, oh, it sounds awesome, or that's wild, or blah, blah, blah. It's very interesting. But they could not watch because of scenes like that.
No.
Like, that scene, I couldn't comprehend it. But I did appreciate it because, again, I love the realism of this show. If superheroes were to exist, I feel like a lot of this stuff would be going on.
Right.
Like, and if they were to bang... I could see them banging like that.
And just because you have powers doesn't really make you like a good person. Like they were getting frisky in that alleyway, and you thought it was the funniest scene in the entire show.
That was the greatest scene.
Because he was like getting turned on, and he smashes that guy's head through the wall. Like his hand just hits the wall cleanly. And you were like, dude, it's the funniest thing in the world.
It's like bashing a watermelon or something, you know, with like
the sound of it. Was
Yeah.
Just
yeah. I don't know who does their makeup and stuff.
their
and
effects and stuff. Like
yeah,
that.
all that stuff. All these like face peelings and face squishings and people getting lasered in half and all this graphic
The head popping.
head popping, all the graphic detail of all the gruesomeness.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, hats off to him.
I think, yeah, I mean, honestly, there was maybe a couple of moments where the CGI wasn't,
So is it all
perfect.
CGI then?
Most of this is CGI, I would imagine.
It has to be, right? Because I was literally just going to make the stupid comment, how can they get so good at peeling someone's face off or lasering someone in half, but they can't get like an action scene to like not have a ton of cuts in it? But it's all CGI.
Yeah. I don't know. That is one of the things where the show is
Like kind of that fight at the end with like Annie and Maeve and all them. Like when Stormfront sends Annie flying, or Starlight, whatever, sends her flying. Like just like the kind of the punching exchange and her flying. I was just like them to cut it a lot to make it look better. You can kind of tell.
Yeah, it was a little bit. See, I'm definitely gonna season 3. I'm definitely gonna watch it when it comes out.
Right.
Because I think everyone told me how great the last episode of the season is, and the last episode of the season is great. But for whatever reason, because like I've seen this shot right here of the 7 of them standing or whatever, and that shot's not anywhere really in the show.
Right.
So I thought they were all gonna face off against each other, and it was gonna be amazingly epic. But when you think about it as your last big action scenes of a season, it's like 3 girls kicking another girl on the ground, and it's not really that epic or interesting, and we don't even get to see what Homelander did to all those people in that room. And it comes out covered in blood.
Right. I was gonna say I think everything that's happening is interesting. The stakes are great, but yeah, like in terms of us getting to see everything / big superhero scenes like you see in the movies, yeah, it wasn't there. But
Which is crazy because they nail his laser eye vision is like amazing.
right.
And her lightning powers are pretty cool. And again, the ripping people apart is really cool. And I don't know, just a lot of the gunshots going through people and
Mm-hmm.
just the smaller things are done so well. It's weird that they couldn't nail that big action scene, especially in the plane scene in the first movie or the first season, where it looks so good for a show. I thought.
Yeah. Okay, and then this last episode, Black Noir wasn't in it at all, was he?
No, they were prepping for him. They had we got this nutmeg or whatever.
Right.
He's got an allergy, and he never showed up.
Because that was our
he
last
wasn't-
interaction with him. He was given
Peanuts.
by
Maeve.
right
After
Huey broke in.
yeah, and Torchlight
Yeah,
killed himself.
Lamplighter,
Lamplighter, there we go. Whatever. Fire guy,
fire guy,
which I think is weird. He was played by Iceman.
Iceman and what?
What do you mean?
What?
Iceman and X-Men.
Oh, okay.
The original X-Men with the
Yeah, he plays an
Patrick
ice
Stewart.
guy, and this thing he plays a fire guy.
He plays a guy literally called Iceman.
And now
He's a fire guy, which
Fire
I think
guy.
is funny. Which
I thought his character was wild. That whole lab was interesting. So Stormfront's got this crazy lab that's test. And that's the other thing too, is who is this company? How does she have this whole thing on her own without like Vought or anybody else knowing about it? Or does Vought know about it?
I think Edgar knows. Edgar must know about it. He seems like he knows. He seems like he is the top dog. Nothing is not known by him.
Right.
Because no one's got anything on him. Like Homefront goes and confronts him early, like, "Hey, you better leave me the fuck alone." And he's like, "Don't ever come in here again. Like,
Yeah.
You don't understand what I could do to you."
Right.
And he has no powers.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, he has no powers.
You and I both assume at some point he'll reveal some kind of power
Not anymore. I don't think so.
after this Congresswoman thing,
Yeah, because I thought he was the guy
blowing heads up.
blowing heads up. Then it turned out to be the Congresswoman. Which the only thing I didn't get with her is she was destroying everyone that was trying to destroy Vought. It seems like, right? But then Huey goes and works for her, and she doesn't kill him.
Well, they're in her office.
Right, but I guess I'm just saying. I assume she's not going to kill him because,
He's the main character.
or
one
maybe,
of them.
or maybe she's trying to see what his, or maybe they're all immune now, so they can't really be killed. Like they can't. They've in the public eye, they're not criminals anymore. They're kind of heroes.
Right.
So maybe they really can't be killed as easily. I just thought it was a little bit weird that she goes from killing all these people, or killing the guy from the church or whatever, and Huey goes to work for her, and it's like, are we gonna kill him? Are we gonna keep him alive? Does she care? Does she? I mean, she obviously knows, because they worked with her to get the evidence against Vought.
Okay. So, but I guess I don't understand. You want her to kill him immediately? Or you're wondering why she hasn't
I
killed
wonder
him?
why she hasn't killed him immediately, or seemed more sinister. She just didn't seem sinister at all. She was like, "Oh, you want a job here? Oh, cool."
She's trying to act nonchalant.
I
I thought she was acting sinister nonchalant. Like
Oh, okay. I didn't.
I kind of got that vibe from her. But I also got that vibe from her because we just saw her blow someone's head up too. So it's like,
Last person I would have expected to do that too.
right. And you could tell she was just trying to, like, again, act natural. She has to play this congresswoman all the time.
Mm.
So she's probably, she's very good at being for the
Whatever,
cause, when
yeah.
in reality she's the exact opposite of what she claims she's fighting for, which I thought was wild.
Yes.
And yeah, the fact that Huey's gonna get a job for her, I think, is insane because he's like her number one enemy.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Let's talk about things that really matter.
Okay.
Almond Joy.
Right. Do they
Weird.
poop on Almond Joy?
Why? I don't know.
I'll be honest with you, it's a candy I've always wondered about. I'm like, who eats this? I was like, it seems like it's in every vending machine. It's got good packaging, good logo, but
It's
I've
90,
never
It's 95% coconut.
something like that.
Why would you eat it?
I don't eat it.
I like it, but
I don't like it. I don't know if I've had it. But anyway, they like poop on it. And they have a lot of Fresca, and I guess what is Fresca? the poison drink that gets you to join the Church of the Collective, because like as he starts offering A-Train Fresca, and then they're like, fuck Fresca. Like, I don't know, they poop on it later.
That's it. Honestly, I know you're joking, but that's an interesting theory if that's truth.
No, it is. The entire time they're trying to convert Deep, the Eagle guy.
Yeah.
Which what happened to him?
He just went away.
I know, but they said he like.
Oh, apparently he did something really bad or something. They didn't ever get into specifics. They
They like put him on a newsreel and said he's shunned from the church because he did this or that, but like they said, I don't know. I can't even remember now. But they like got rid of him, but whatever it was, it definitely seemed like one of those situations where he got screwed over by VOD or the church.
Right.
But I can't remember what it was. Anyway, the entire time he's trying to recruit Deep, he's like giving them Frescas. They're like, Fresca? Fresca? And then as soon as Deep finally gets converted, he's trying to convert A-Train, and the first thing he offers him is a Fresca.
I would love for this to actually happen. That would be crazy.
I think that's what they're doing. And because whenever Deep's mad at the end, he goes screw Fresca or whatever.
Yeah, like I don't want it.
Yeah. So it's like that must be their secret elixir.
Let me get into another problem I have with the show.
You didn't even get into that problem.
Oh, well, I mean, what
about Almond Joy and Fresca?
It's just a little weird how much they talked about it seemingly out of nowhere. There was a couple of episodes where it just came up and it just kept coming up. And I kept...
They pooped on Doritos, too.
They did.
That was one I couldn't remember.
And it was just weird, It's just a weird thing to put sponsors or products in there.
Yeah, because you got Doritos with a Homelander Red Bull-looking energy drink.
Right.
So it's like, why couldn't you have a fake chip company if you got a fake energy drink?
Or just do everything's real, Why not do everything's real?
Everything's real or everything's superhero sponsored. They had it half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Does the other two candy bars she say, are those actual candy bars?
What did she say?
I don't even know. I've never even heard of them. Like 5-0 Honey and something else.
I don't think those are real.
He's like, those are the two worst candy bars ever.
What did you think about their relationship? Huey and Starlight.
Honestly, it's a lot of stuff. Like
Okay.
I could use more of it because whenever they are on screen together, I feel like their screen time is rushed.
Yeah.
In the fact that their relationship is happening in a very small window of the episode. Whereas like Stormfront, for example, she had a lot of development over the episodes to get to where she was. Where I feel like Huey and Annie, for example, have like a fraction of that. And they got a little bit more in like the middle of the season when they like get to bang. But basically it goes from like, she basically admits that she can't stand him to Homelander to prevent from getting killed. And says that, he broke her heart worse than anybody ever could. She can't stand him. And she's been ignoring his calls. And then out of nowhere she like comes back. And they like kind of talk, like their conversations. I don't even understand.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah, they're not like, if I were either one of them, I'd be like, what about this and what about this and that? What about this and that? And they're just like, so yeah, my mom gave me a necklace. Like I don't know. They just like say the bare minimum of what they could say. And she comes back. They like work it out, and then somehow they're like, he's gonna take her on the trip. She goes, she could really use this, and Mother's Milk is like, could she use it or could you use it? And he's like, yeah,
it's me, you got me.
And so they go on the trip. They're making googly eyes the whole time. They're having conversations about Almond Joy. Then they bang, and then they get back, and she's like, yeah, we could never do this again. It's like too dangerous. The easiest way for us to stay alive is to just like be focused on ourselves.
And then in the next episode, they're like all hunky dory when he saves her.
Yeah.
And
well, and actually, the episode where she's removing the chip.
Yeah.
When Frenchie's removing the chip, he goes, Huey's like kind of like antsy, and Frenchie's like, oh, it's okay, like
Kamiko,
Pepe Le Pew, and we all do this for the ones we love, me more, and like. He like literally does that, and Huey's like, "Oh, what? Like love? I mean, no, it's like we're platonic, but I mean, like I love her, but like it's platonic, or we're just friends." And she like totally changed up. She's like, just hurry and do it before I change my mind. So like, they admit that they're friends now, and then literally in the next episode they're like basically dating again. And even her mom's like, really, the boy with sweaty hands or whatever. And she's like, Mom, and she didn't even say we're just friends. She just said, like, mom, as in, don't judge the guy
Yeah.
I'm dating.
Well, and then they want to be together at the very end of the show.
Right.
It's just it's a lot.
It's and like it all happens in very small glimpses, and I could use more of it, but it's the least interesting thing in the show. So I don't really want more of it
Yeah,
because I don't want it to take away from the other cool stuff that's happening.
Well, I think it's the second least interesting thing in the show.
What is the least?
The Deep.
I love the deep.
I hate the Deep, dude. I wish that where's the payoff?
Why does there need to be a payoff?
Because why are we spending time on him? He has nothing to do with anything. If
Well,
you
I mean,
remove-
okay,
if you
no,
remove
he-
his scenes, you would lose nothing from the plot of this show.
The church stuff.
Yeah, you don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Well, no, it came into play at the end. I'll admit everything else was pointless.
Right.
But him trying to use the church to get back into the Seven, the church trying to use him to get leverage from Vought, and then A-Train gets roped into that, and then A-Train
Steals the
the
documents.
evidence, drops the bomb, skips the Deep, because the Deep was supposed to get back in the Seven, but because of what he did, the church was like, yep,
Well,
we're putting...
because A-Train's black, remember? Because they want to look anti-Nazi, and that's why they put A-Train back.
Either way, no matter what, A-Train gets the spot over the Deep,
Yeah.
which, again, the Deep has to be there for this plot to happen. A-Train gets back in, and then the church guy gets his head blown off after the Deep gets pissed and leaves, and then the congresswoman blows his head off because he's going to sell the church to, what, the Congress instead of Vought or whatever? Her organization?
Yeah. I believe that's
He's going to,
the case.
get them to fund her, he's going to get her organization to fund him instead of Vought now. So, yeah. I feel like the Deep tied into that. Everything before that, yeah, not so much. And also the whale scene where he tries to save the day, a pretty good scene.
Yeah, but I mean, he was also just not he gets them there to find Huey and all of them,
Yeah.
and then they do everything that's worth a damn,
Right.
and then they have a fight, and the Deep isn't involved in that.
Right.
I didn't really care.
The
for
Deep,
it
they're
because-
tied for me.
because they just spent so much. Season 1 and Season 2, they've spent a lot of time on him, and I've not cared a lot about any of it.
No, I haven't either. Again, to me, the only payoff I've gotten, I agree with everything you're saying. The only payoff I've gotten from it is when the church got more involved with Vought in the current story that we're dealing with. But yeah, everything before that, yeah, very pointless. Some of it was kind of entertaining or interesting. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because the Deep is oh, he's so deep.
Of course, and
Yeah.
he's like Mermaid Man or Barnacle
Right.
or SpongeBob.
Exactly. I'm obsessed with SpongeBob, so because he's the Deep. Sea creatures of the Deep.
I think about that every time his name is said.
Exactly, same. So that's probably why I like him. I do like the whole fact that he's this guy that sexually harassed his fellow soup women, and now he's
Trying to recover from it.
yeah,
and,
trying to bounce back, and he's got gills, and he feels weird about himself, and some chicks get off on squeezing his
So
gills.
weird,
and
dude.
all that
That's
stuff.
my other main problem with the show is
Some of the weirdness?
I could just deal with a little bit less of it. But honestly, we just watched a thing on what the difference is between it and the comics, and the gist of what I got was they reined a lot of stuff back from the comics. They made it less grotesque and weird and sexual and disgusting. And I appreciate that they did that. I think that was the right move, at least for me.
Yeah.
I wish they would do it a little bit more.
You don't
but-
like Stormfront getting her tits lasered?
I didn't mind it, but I was talking more about the gills thing, and they go to the nightclub and the guy with the rubber arms just wrapping him around his
Yeah.
his dick and jerking two guys off. And
What
then
about
they go to
the most recent guy?
And they go to the church or whatever, and the guy's has a video of him with all these other little boys or something, and then there's the guy who chops his arms off
Yes. Oh
as a
yeah.
sexual fantasy. Or something.
Gecko.
Yeah.
Safety.
Really nice, really weird stuff. What do you mean the most recent one?
The dude in the lab with the 10-foot dick that wrapped around mother's milk or something like that.
Well, that was all right because at least that was a part of an attack. I don't know. It's all about how long it goes on. I feel like it just goes on so long that I just want to look away.
Honestly, watching that dick crawl back up into his pants
Horrifying?
was disturbing.
Yeah,
that
it
was pretty whack.
It was pretty disturbing. And I didn't see it.
But then it
coming. I
was
felt like
funny
such
because
an
Frenchie
idiot.
was like, "Was that a dick?"
Shut up. You don't tell anyone about this.
Yeah.
But it's weird. But I don't know. I guess I'll put up with. It's just one of those things I don't like, but I'm gonna put up with it because I love the rest of the show.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Well, let's. These 7. Is this 7 of them here?
Yeah.
What's the
7.
original 7 though? Because Stormfront should make it. Because Stormfront and Starlight.
Remember, Translucent died.
Translucent died.
Mm.
And then A-Train Deep was kicked out.
The Deep, yeah. They never replaced. They had. 6.
They had 6 for the longest time. Yeah. And he kept calling them the 7, and I was like 6.
They probably. It must have been. Maybe they replaced Lamplighter. Maybe that was it. They had Lamplighter in there.
Well, they had.
Wasn't a girl, was it?
So it was Homelander, Maeve, Deep, Translucent, Black Noir, A-Train.
And that was it. I mean, like, that's all they ever showed.
Who was the 7th?
I don't think there was one. I think they were always searching for the 7th because.
Right, and they found Annie.
Right, and I think
so. They got Starlight.
I think someone retired in the first season or something, and it was a throwaway line and we missed it.
No, you're right though. Starlight is the 7th.
Right.
And then right after that, Translucent dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Deep gets out, and then Stormfront comes in, and then that's basically where we're at.
Right.
It stayed at basically the 6. A-Train was kind of on the ins and outs, as we saw throughout the show. So, of all of the characters that have names, like all the superheroes, all the soups that have names, Kimiko included, her brother, of all the soups, like who is your favorite?
In terms of...
let's go Powers.
Oh, Powers?
Or, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like, just rank them for me, actually, because I already know who's your favorite. Maybe give me some kind of ranking. Who's?
I mean, it's Homelander, you know?
Homelander's number 1.
But it's... I just love his portrayal. I love the guy portraying him. Like,
Right.
I think he nails the, like, totally sadistic, weird, but, like, really powerful and cocky and, like, fake.
But then obsessed with people loving him.
Yeah, he just nails it. I just think he does such a great job. And then, honestly, number 2, I'm going to go Stormfront, even though we only have 1 season of her, and
Yep.
she's not as prominent in the very beginning.
Yep.
She's really great. After that, it's kind of a wash between a lot of the characters for me.
Yeah.
They all have their moments. I mean, I would say Black Noir is probably my least favorite because I know nothing about him.
I thought you were going to say he was your favorite just because he's like the
He's
most
a
random.
badass. Well, yeah, that too. I mean, I like the way he looks, and I like how he's basically like Deadpool Batman.
Yeah.
But he's cool too. Kimiko is just annoying to me because she doesn't talk, but that's part of her character, I guess.
She hasn't talked since you didn't see it because you were watching a bad stream.
Yeah.
According to... Oh, you did see it then because her brother was speaking English, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
but
she hasn't...
But she still did the...
They still did some signing.
Sign.
Basically, I don't know. She hasn't spoken since their parents were killed.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't know. Maybe,
So then they developed this made-up language.
maybe that's like a power that also affected her in a negative way or something. But I guess if I went Homelander, Stormfront, and then Maeve, probably go Maeve, honestly.
Yeah,
and then
Maeve's cool.
I would go Annie, kind of.
Starlight.
And then after that, like, I guess A-Train, The Deep, and Black Noir. Wow. A-Train and The Deep and Black Noir, I don't like The Deep because of the weird sexual things that go on with him.
It haven't happened since season 1, but yes.
It's enough. It's a lot of his screen time.
I did like... Okay, that was one of the funny lines, was whenever he was, like, yelling at the church guy for making him marry a psycho wife that gives terrible blowjobs.
Yes.
And, like, I love how whenever they're doing the interviews of all the chicks, he's like, that last chick's the one. And
Because
lady's
she's a
like,
freak.
Yeah. Lady's like, no, you want the Cassandra, like, the one that wants to wrap up with mummies? Like, nah. Like, let's get the freak. She's like, no, you want this girl. He's like, well, I thought it was my choice. She goes, yeah, you're choosing that girl. Like, it's like, oh, okay.
And then I guess for A-Train, I don't know.
See, considering how
His
useless...
powers are cool. But
Well, I was going to say, considering how useless he's been in terms of powers, because I feel like his powers were kind of a big deal in the first season, and then the second
his
season...
heart issue and...
Yeah, the second season to me is more focused on, like, his conniving.
Yeah.
His dialogue and his relationship with, like, Annie, and the fact that he's on the outs with the 7. He doesn't want to be out. He, like, can't rat Starlight out, but
And he had more backstory, and when there was something with his brother there, and we learned about his heart issue and his
Yeah.
sex
addiction.
scandals and stuff like that. There was more of that in the first season, so I think he's at a disadvantage there. Where I'm just like, you know what I mean? What about you? Like, how would you rank the 7?
Obviously, Homelander, Stormfront, and then I wish Annie would get to do, or Starlight. I keep calling her. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Same person.
Yeah.
I wish she would get to do more stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we've barely seen her use her light powers that much.
Yeah, I feel like we're still discovering. I feel like she's still a new character for some reason.
Yeah, she's barely used any of her powers. We see her most of the time just dressed up in the costume, dealing with the superhero shit, but not necessarily doing any superheroing.
Right.
Like, we don't really see her doing anything. She's either in her hoodie, talking to Huey, or she's in the suit, like, pretending to act natural around Stormfront and Homelander and, like, have normal conversation without, like, blowing up her spot.
Right.
But we never get to see her powers, so it's hard to rank her. So, yeah, Homelander, Stormfront. Might go A-Train, Noir, Maeve, Starlight, Deep? No, I don't know. Deep's probably at the bottom, just because I feel like outside of the water, he's not doing anything effective.
No, and he doesn't do that much in the water.
And Noir seems very effective, so I would want him on my team. I just wish we had more of him in the show. Also, when he's on that roof in that neighborhood,
He's so obvious.
yeah, how does nobody see that? In the entire neighborhood, they're not spotting a black ninja in armor on a roof. Like, no one's calling that in. Like, he's literally on it. Like, he's not, like, behind the chimney. No matter what part of that roof he's on, some other person could see him from anywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody could see him.
I agree.
So I thought that was wild. But yeah, I would put Noir, maybe, Homelanders, Stormfront, Noir, A-Train, Starlight, Maeve, Deep.
Okay.
I like Maeve's character, but I mean, to me, she's useless too. I mean, I don't even know how she showed up in that final scene. I was making jokes like, did she walk there? Did she take a bus? Like, I don't even know how she got there.
Because she can't fly, so what is she doing to get there?
Right. She just walks out of the woods and it's like, hey, I'm here to help. Like, I'm going to beat up Stormfront with you. It's like, where'd you come from? So, convenient timing is
Girls
convenient.
get it on.
Yeah, girls get it on. So, yeah, I mean, I like her character and, like, the whole lesbian thing, you know, that they do, like, trying to be, I guess...
Which is... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, everything that they do, like, I feel like the show is really touching on issues that we have.
It's so self-aware. Like,
Yeah,
it's definitely self-aware.
Yeah, they, like, basically poke fun at... Like, Vought is telling her how to have her lesbian relationship in the eyes of the TVs and the movies and stuff. And she's like, nah, like, we don't do that. We're just two chicks. Like, we don't do any of this, like, she's the man and dress up and butchered haircuts. We don't do any of that. And the Vaught's like, no, we have to do this. Like, this is a studio audience.
Want to see
Yeah,
it.
people need clear gender roles, even in gay relationships. And it's like, so... I don't know. I thought that was very accurate. I feel like a lot of people feel that way. Like, let's say people of my parents' age, for example. Like, not necessarily my parents, but let's just say people their age are like, you know, who's the man? Who's wearing the tux at the wedding?
If y'all dance at a wedding,
Who leads?
Who leads? Do you flip a coin? Do you discuss it beforehand? It's a legitimate question.
It
Do you
is.
think we mentioned Seinfeld on every episode?
I don't think we ever have it.
Okay, I was just wondering if you're pretty confident in that. And I'm not going to disagree with you.
I'm
Like, we
sure
reference
we
it
have.
in some way on every episode.
So it's like what Jerry's supposed to reference Superman on every episode.
We reference Seinfeld every episode, and we don't even try, which is
It's effortless.
something. I just think.
But now I have to go back and listen to every episode.
Oh, dude! So should everyone else.
Yeah,
I
make
think
note of that.
I think it's just a testament that we can't go more than an hour without quoting it. I just think that the microphone just happens to be on.
Yeah, I mean we're quoting it microphone on or off at all times.
Yeah, day and night, consuming, creating. Yeah, that was weird. Like, they did that with a lot of things. They did that with the Nazi and, like, it was kind of like a sending the troops kind of thing with, you know, you want Homefront to protect you, but, you know, you want to be protected, but you don't want him to kill people. Like, it was kind of that message.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was also, like, the black discriminatory thing.
Did you kind of like before we really found out she was a Nazi? Were you kind of getting like that, like I don't know how to word the Trump white supremacy kind of vibe that she was building up.
No.
Whenever she was telling Homelander, like, hey, like, you might have 20 million fans, but I have 5 million angry people. Like, she's like, I'm getting these people worked up. Like, I'm getting them. And she's, like, saying all these speeches, getting people fired up. Like, yeah, F this. We're with Stormfront. Like, did you kind of get, like, I felt like they were kind of touching on that commentary in our world where, like, people today are so hardcore about everything. Like, we can't just be neutral, and you can't just have 20 million people watch the same thing and everybody be okay with it. You're going to have 5 million people that are supporting it, 5 million people that are angry about it.
Right.
Like, everyone's just like angry and fighting about everything.
No, that's a really good point. But no, I didn't pick up on that. I honestly didn't suspect her being any sort of a racist or, like, even... I thought...
Well, as soon as they said she was Liberty, you kind of got the vibe she was racist.
Well...
Because Liberty kills that black person, and, like, they say, I'm a hero because I'm killing scum like you.
I still wasn't convinced because I thought she was, like, racist towards people that don't have superpowers. And that's like how I read into it. I didn't read it as like a race thing initially because it was kind of confusing to me why Liberty killed. I thought like she was drunk or something, and she like just got mad and just killed the first person she saw.
Well, what about that whole backstory of Mother's Milk and the lady that watched her brother get killed by Liberty?
No, that is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. I'm saying like I read. The way I interpreted that in the beginning was that she just had a rough day and like was drinking or something like that, and some car hit her or something like that, or was around, and she just got pissed at that person and just killed him no matter what.
Right.
I didn't realize that she was in fact racist, which I feel dumb about now because there's all these clues along the way. Because like when she was talking to A-Train and she was like, there was some conversation between the two of them. They're outside like the studio, they're shooting the movie, where he says, "Oh, you got a problem with someone like me or whatever," and like I thought she was referring to the fact that he's like has a heart issue and isn't really a super anymore, and I thought she was more like, you're not one of us really anymore because you're not as powerful.
No, I'll admit that particular instance, like the whole time I was like, why does she hate A-Train? I was like, what's her beef with A-Train? I thought I was missing something from like a previous episode. I was like, what, did they like cross paths and he pissed her off or something like that? Because A-Train's obviously involved in all this Compound V stuff with Starlight.
Right.
So I just assumed he effed up somewhere and Stormfront's like not having it. And then, we find out she's a racist, and I go, oh, okay, so that's why she hates A-Train. But, like, as soon as they did that whole thing of Liberty and Liberty killing the black guy, and then Mother's Milk telling that story about his dad being a lawyer fighting day and night to, like, bring Liberty or somebody like that to justice just to find him dead.
But he made that story up.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He said he made it up in the car.
No, he didn't.
He's like, your dad died trying to fight Vought or whatever, and he's like, no. I'm pretty sure he made that up just to like get the information out of her to sympathize with her. He made up some
because
detail.
he said
he made up some detail.
Maybe because he said he passed the battle on to me, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to end up passing it on to my young ones or something.
Okay.
Something he said made it seem like that was real.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm sort of remembering it now because I watched this like a week ago or something. But the reveal of like, no, Liberty's still alive. She's right there.
Right.
And then like her talking about being a Nazi is like, there's not a ton of time in between it, so I don't think I put it together quick enough for that. I don't know how I missed it, but like for some reason that was a huge reveal to me. Like I did not see that coming.
I mean, I didn't see most of it coming. I guess I don't know, but yeah, it's hard. All the episodes are running together to me. But basically, everything about Stormfront has blown me away because I mean, she gets introduced to the season as just like this, like almost like teenage like character who's just like poops on everything, hates everything.
Him Grandpa. He calls him Gramps.
Yeah, and and she's the oldest one, and sarcastic about everything, and then by the end of it, she's like running the show, and like I don't know. I thought all of that was wild. And I feel like she's got to be so loved. Maybe, I don't know how the other fans feel, but I feel like she was such a big character. I almost feel like they would want to bring her back in some way.
I really hope they do, because I think she was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I could totally see a episode 3 or 4 reveal next season of like the stinger at the very end.
Or she's
It's
in
like-
like a Darth Vader suit.
She's in something and like Homefront's just like,
Okay.
you know, kind of cleaning her skin or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's completely healed from it because she's that much of a monster.
I hate to point this out. I feel obligated to tell you. You've been calling him Homefront the entire episode.
Me. I have, haven't I?
Yeah. You've been
No, wait,
confining-
I called him Homelander once.
Once, yeah, but you've been saying Homefront like the last like 5 or 10 times you said his name. So like, you've been combining Homelander and Stormfront.
It's their couple name.
They're Homefront.
Brennifer.
Yeah. It's their couple name. It's Homefront. That is adorable. That's the perfect couple name for him. You just made their couple name. Hashtag trending. Hashtag the decent show.
I'm so pissed at myself.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I should know it because we just watched it.
Homelander, but Homefront does roll off the tongue easier, and it was a video game we played back in the day.
It was decent.
No, it was alright. Okay, let me ask you this. This isn't even important, but like,
None of this is.
when she's in her suit,
Okay.
do you feel like the actress playing Starlight sometimes looks kind of chunky? Like, considering how thin and petite her character is, I feel like they get her in her suit, and
Uh-huh.
she kind of looked like she got a belly going on.
Yeah, I think the suit is way. I think her suit in season 1, where like she has a skirt or whatever,
Worked better.
works better for her because she's not.
In that great a shape as an actress.
Yeah, dude. Which, by the way, like shout out to, this is weird, but like shout out to like Homelander. He's actually in really good shape, which I didn't think.
What do you mean?
Because-
the actor?
Yeah, let's get, dude. This show is insane. How much we could talk about it, but when he has sex with himself, because it's a clone or whatever, like I didn't realize he was in that good of shape.
That wasn't CGI.
No, yeah, because the guy who plays Shazam in Shazam is is like in not good shape at all. It's all padding and it's all like, you know, it's all
It's a
just a
shame.
suit and it's all, you know. I think Ben Affleck, he had a really rough like time or year between Batman v Superman and Justice League in his personal life, so he wasn't as shredded as he is in Batman v Superman. You know, he's pulling that tire,
Mm-hmm.
like, and they make a point of showing him shirtless, obviously.
Right.
And then the second, or in Justice League, I'm sorry,
He's like a fat drunk the whole movie.
yeah, and you notice he takes his armor off, and there's like a shirt on underneath for some reason that's also Batman logoed, and it's like, here, let me fix your shoulder. Good thing you got that armor off and still have a shirt on. Like, he's not in good shape at all.
Yeah.
And so, like, they can make you look like you're in insanely good shape. And I thought ironically, the only person in actually good shape was the Deep,
Yeah.
because it's funny that he's in the best shape, but he's the most useless character.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy how he's in shape. I don't think she looks good really in her outfit at all, honestly, because she looks like she just looks dumb. I don't know. It just looks unappealing to me as a heterosexual male.
I mean, I'm not saying I hate it. I'm still thinking it's hot or whatever, but she looks silly.
Yeah.
And she literally looks like what they're trying to make her look like. They're trying to make her look just like some superhero slut, basically.
Mhm.
And
Maeve
then
calls her a slut, which I love too.
yeah. Wait, what?
Maeve like gets a speech from her. You gotta help us. It's the right thing to do. And she's like, "Shut up, you stupid slut." She calls her a slut, like right to her face, and says, "Get out of here."
Love it. That was a good scene.
Because I would have been pissed if that would have worked. Because that was a lame speech.
Yeah, it was lame.
Let's get to things that bothered you. Let's talk about men's faces. Any men's face bother you?
Oh, okay. I thought you were still quoting the speech, but I was like, that's not what Starlight said. Nah, faces were solid. Good faces.
All around.
I like the Church of the Collectives guy's face.
Right.
He definitely seemed like that kind of guy. I like Moff Gideon. What's his name? Edgar Stern? Or no,
Yeah.
something
It's
Edgar.
Edgar.
Last name Edgar. I said his first name. I can't remember. But anyway,
Great.
his good face. Huh?
No.
Good
I say
face.
greatest.
I did like that they brought Stillwell back, technically,
Yep.
as Doppelganger, but now Doppelganger's dead, I guess.
That was. There's
All
another
of that
weird-
was disturbing. What is this Doppelganger guy? Like, is he like Homelander's slave, or does he get off on being other people?
Probably the slave thing. Honestly, he must. Well, I don't know. It's his gift, and he doesn't look that appealing anyway, and he did it in the first season to blackmail that congressman. So
Right.
he clearly is up for hire.
Right.
And I'm betting Homelander was like, you can have all this money and everything, but whenever I come by, you better.
Be Stillwell.
Yeah.
Oof.
That was a disturbing scene. I thought that was a dream, then I thought it was real, and then I was wondering how. And then it turned into a doppelganger, and I was disturbed beyond belief. There's another weird sexual thing that I don't know if I really needed to see. All the stuff with the milk, too, was very... I never need to see that. That is always extra stuff I don't like.
Okay, and that's the other thing. We talked about the comic versus the the show. They say that in the comic, Mother's Milk is named that because he's basically a superhero because of his mother who worked in a Compound V factory, and he has to drink her breast milk. So theoretically, Mother's Milk should be obsessed with milk and breast milk, but it's Homelander who is.
And he has this weird sexual fantasy with it.
Milk, yeah. He's like doing
Heating
this
it up and then
he's fingering the milk and then puts fingers in his mouth, and
It's so weird, dude. It's just so weird.
it is.
Other things that bothered you. I'm going to give you something that meant something to me from my father, and he told me something, and then I'm going to tell you that thing.
Yes. I wish I could describe it better, and I wish I could give you examples, but it just... Shows and movies always have this stupid thing where, like, a character dies or a character's going to die. It always involves a character's death and another character having to feel good in the long run.
It happens.
And somehow a necklace is the key to that. It's always that. It's always something.
They blatantly do it with The Watch and Wonder Woman. They do it with something in one of the Mission Impossible movies. I mean, like, these are just things I'm thinking at the top of my head. There's a million of these things, you know? There's so many.
Dog tags.
Dog tags in every war movie.
Yeah.
But it's always, my father's watch, Dark Knight, the father's coin or whatever.
What, Two-Face?
Yeah, my lucky coin.
Lucky
my father's
coin.
lucky coin. It's like, oh, I feel scared. Here, I'll give you this. My dad gave it to me. It made when I was scared. Now you can have it. Or Becca gave it to me.
Yeah.
Becca's death.
Wildish. Wildish. Yeah, most disposable character dead.
Kind of annoying that she was such a focal point of season 1 being dead, only to come back, have very little screen time, and then actually die.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, now you pointed this out, so I'll try to give you credit.
Let's go. Let's eat.
Just like you pointed out, like she is really hokey with how she's raising.
Yeah, he's
the kid.
Like, I get he's living in captivity,
Right.
but it's even lame for that.
Yeah, like she's got him living like Amish and
Like
Homeland-
Mr. Rogers' son.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, hate, put a quarter in the swear jar. It's like, oh, okay. You
Well,
know.
we don't have a swear jar in this house, so you can hate away. That's what he says to him.
Oh, I know.
It's great.
Everything Homelander says is great.
It is, dude. It is.
Okay. Has this guy been up for an Emmy? As Homelander.
Great question. I should have looked it up beforehand.
I'm trying to look it up now. Okay, but to me, like, I don't know if streaming shows can even be nominated for Emmys.
I mean, streaming movies can be nominated for
Oscars now.
Because Roma
Yeah.
was nominated for an Oscar.
And then
Almost won it.
well, then the whatever, Marriage Story, The Irishman.
I want to say Game of Thrones has been nominated for Emmys. Yeah. It can
Yeah, but
definitely-
HBO is like a network turned streaming service.
That's true. Like, I'm trying to think of something even like a Peacock won an Emmy.
Yeah, but Peacock's NBC. You know what I mean?
Damn it.
Like,
I don't know. It'd have to be something even less, I guess, memorable. But yeah,
so like to me, like just what all I'm trying to say is to me, if the Anthony Starr, the guy playing Homelander, if that guy isn't nominated for an Emmy for a TV show for his acting in this show, I think that's a crime.
is he better in this season than in season 1?
I think he's great in both. I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you think he's better in one of the seasons versus the other?
Man, it's tough. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, he's
I
great in both.
I think
I mean, he's great in both, but he's like probably about the same.
He's about the same. I think the biggest thing that varies, and I don't really know if I have a preference, I just think the biggest difference between his character in season 1 or 2 is in like season 1, he has way more power and control, and he's much more like menacing and intimidating. And then in 2, he's on like an emotional roller
He's
coaster.
all over the place.
Yeah, he's on an emotional roller coaster with like Stormfront and all this fandom stuff, and her like getting into his head, and then the kid and Butcher and Becca and the kid not liking him, and
I love you, and he's just like the kid's just like, okay.
Okay.
That was so awkward. That was amazing though.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's so good in the role.
So yeah, to me, I don't know what it constitutes for an Emmy in TV these days, but to me, if that guy's not getting one, I think that's a crime.
Getting one or nominated?
Well, you know what I mean, nominated.
Should be
Just at least nominated. Yeah. If you don't want to give it to him because
Because we
it's
don't
not
watch
some-
a lot of TV, so I don't know if
Right.
I really can speak on that.
Right. If it's not, if you're gonna give the Emmy to somebody on,
The Crown.
no,
I
that's
don't know. I'm
another
just trying to
Netflix
think
show.
of-
God, I just had it. This Is Us on
Oh,
NBC.
yeah.
Just some crappy show like that. Like if it has to be one of those gender fluid network shows that comes on Tuesdays at 7:30 prime time, yeah, so be it. But this guy should still be nominated.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, get your Boys 2 season 2 review and your This Is Us series review all in one.
I mean, that's how these shows are. That's how they all are. Like, oh,
They suck.
hot new drama.
Jeez. All right, let's talk about some wild things.
Yes, as if we haven't already.
There's a billion of them.
Nominated for one primetime Emmy.
What is it?
It's IMDb's number 82 show. Like top 82.
I understand that, but what is the primetime Emmy? Is it screenwriting or is it costume design, special
even that.
effects,
Close.
sound mixing?
Yeah, sound editing. Sorry.
Dude, that is
awful.
that is awful.
It's a terrible.
Again, we don't watch any
Outstanding
TV.
sound editing for a comedy or drama series, 1 hour. Specifically 1 hour. Not 30 minutes. If it's a 30-minute sound editing show out there, that
You couldn't have made
it
it.
couldn't have made it.
Yeah.
It got Excellence in Production Design Award for the Art Directors Guild.
But nothing acting wise. Not even. I mean, Butcher's good too.
Golden Trailer Awards. It got Best Action, Best Sound Editing, both nominees. IGN Movie Awards. Best TV Comic Adaptation, nominee. Best New TV Series, nominee.
Did you say TV movie nomination? Best action. Best.
So these are the IGN. I guess IGN has an award show now that actually gets credited because it's on IMDb.
I guess yeah.
Two different acronyms. I hope our fans know their acronyms. I don't even know what IGN stands for.
Yeah, me neither.
Internal Gamer Network.
I don't think the G is games.
Probably
I'm not.
not.
Gonna lie to you. It's a gaming website.
I was going to say something disrespectful like I give no reviews or something, but anyway.
Nice, dude.
Best TV comic book adaptation.
TV comic book adaptation, and it didn't even win.
Nominated. And this is IGN's awards. And so IGN award nominated for Best New TV Series. What other TV series are they reviewing? I'd be interested to know. And it got a nominee award for Best TV Ensemble. And it just lists all the actors.
I mean, I kind of get that, but at the same time, I feel like
And
even
IGN's
from
awards, who cares about IGN awards? Like, give me some Emmys here.
Yeah, we don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't know if our opinions are super valid, but I feel like this show is better than almost all TV.
This is what I was going to tell you before we started this episode.
Lay it
This
on
show, because I did this with Jamaica, this show, to me, is so wild. Right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like,
Huey, his girlfriend gets splattered into a billion pieces in the first 10 seconds.
spoilers.
We're in
Anybody-
season 2.
I know. But anybody that's never seen this show, if I meet anybody and they go, The Boys, is that good? I haven't watched that. I've kind of heard of it. I'm like, just watch it. That's literally all I've said. Just watch it. If you don't like it after the first episode, then you don't like it.
Yeah.
And, like, I've told that to a couple of people. I haven't had one of them that hasn't come back and been like, yeah, I hated it.
Mhm.
Like, all of them have watched the entire show.
Right. I even know some people that are a little more, how shall I put this, a little more PG-13.
Vanilla.
Yeah, they're a little more, I don't really want to see all X, Y, and Z in my stuff. And they say, like, yeah, that stuff's bad. And I'm like, I feel you on that. But they're still like, man, what a show. What a great show. Like, I can look past it. Because it's the writing is so good. The acting is so good. Like, they do that.
How does Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg do
They
it?
nail it, dude. I gotta shout out my own text message because you're like, dude, Seth Rogen like wrote or produced this show or whatever, and I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. And you're like, why? And he's like, well, he's been forcing drug subplots into every TV and movie he's been a part of for years, and it's finally paid off.
See, I didn't want to argue with you, but I think it paid off. It paid off with Pineapple Express and pretty much every movie he's done before.
To me, it doesn't, but that's fine. I mean,
how is he famous then?
I mean, it's always just thrown in there for some reason. Like, they get high in Sausage Party.
Yeah.
They're sausages, and they get high.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
Like,
okay. Do you believe that there's parents dumb enough that took their kids to that movie thinking it was a kid's cartoon?
oh, no, but I also...
But they did that.
I'm just saying, like, what does
No,
that
they did
add?
that, though.
Are you serious?
Yes. Sausage Party got in trouble because parents took their kids to see it.
Wow.
Because it was an animated cartoon with a bunch of food.
Wow.
And then it was the movie that you saw.
That sucks. That's like the most
It says
awkward...
it's rated R. It's called Sausage Party. Like, I don't know.
That is... And you... Man, that is one of the most awkward experiences I could ever imagine.
Yeah. You just have your 8-year-old in there and you're watching like a hot dog and a bun get it on.
Dude, I'm sweating right now thinking about it. Anyway, back to The Boys and about its stupid not winning awards. Anyway, I don't know, other wild things. They get that blind guy in there for one episode, for one scene, and Homelander just dusts him immediately. He's like, I don't need any freaking cripples on the 7. It's like, jeez. This guy is
that season 2?
Yeah.
Very beginning, first
Very
episode.
beginning.
Yeah, first episode.
We need a replacement.
Yeah.
And, oh man, that was amazing. I love that so much. And then, of course, the stupid, wild sex scene with the doppelganger was insane. The whale thing was insane. Them being inside of a whale and then
Just chilling.
ramming it with a boat. And it was all crazy. I mean, of course, the twist with Stormfront and her being a Nazi, her dying, Becca dying. Crazy amount of deaths, I mean, honestly.
Yeah, everyone said it's exploding in the courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
I guess there wasn't anybody too notable aside from, like, the judge. We didn't know who that was, but, like...
The Quickster.
Everyone else...
The Quickster, that's what I'm calling him. I don't know who the Speedster is.
Oh, Shockwave?
Shockwave, yeah. He replaced...
He got blown up.
He got blown up. Everyone in that room just got absolutely decimated. I kept waiting for someone... I mean, that guy who created Homelander... I mean, he got destroyed.
That's right. He was significant. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that was huge because he was going to testify. The other thing, we kind of talked about it off air. Maeve, Starlight, maybe pretty much those characters for sure, and then maybe like a couple other ones that I can't remember the finer details, have all had blackmail against other characters.
Right.
And they threaten to release it or do release whatever said blackmail is.
Right.
And then like, okay, so let's say the ones that threaten to release. If they were to die, how would it get released? Did it get sent to anybody? Mm-hmm. Do we know? They make it seem like it didn't. So
people
it's
are
like
a little too believing in that too. Like, if I die in the next if I don't respond in the next hour, you know, this is all going to get leaked out into the press or whatever.
Maybe. Yeah, because they don't even say that. They just go, if you don't let him go, I'm going to leak this.
Like with Maeve, with the phone at the very end.
That's what I'm saying.
I had a huge problem with that just in the sense
because unless
that
she sent that to Elena, nobody else knows that footage exists.
Homelander's the strongest person here, and he could break your hand and take that phone and smash it.
Right.
And then he could do whatever he wanted.
Right. So I don't know how... I just don't get it. I feel like some of the blackmail threats were like, because I'm like, I don't know how to word it better, but basically, yeah, it's like, the threat doesn't seem that real, like, especially like when you're threatening Homelander. It feels like he could just laser your face off, laser the phone, and it looks like it's only on that phone.
Yeah.
She hasn't implied that Elena's going to leak it, that anybody else is going to leak it, that she sent it to anybody. She's just like, I'm going to do it. It's like, well, I can kill you. So, I don't know.
It's just, you know, another change they made from the comics where they have like no superpowers. It's really the only thing that people can do against these superpower people is blackmail them.
Yeah.
They really have no other weapon.
They have nothing, yeah.
Honestly, but
Yeah, because what's his name? Butcher. He uses blackmail on Edgar or Black Noir to like get out of that situation when Noir's about to kill him in the house.
Yeah.
Something about the kid or Becca or something. He like threw it against the wall and they're like, let him go.
Yeah, because he's got like, if I die or whatever, this video clip's going out, and he's like, let him go, and
Yeah.
I know where Homelander's kid is, and I don't know, it's just, yeah. And then Homelander's kid goes with the woman at the end, his boss, whatever her name is.
Mallory.
Yeah, I can remember that. That's interesting. I can't wait to see where that goes, honestly. What's the thing you're like most looking forward to seeing where it goes in season 3? You know, we have no knowledge of season 3. We haven't seen a trailer. There's nothing about it.
I guess, man, it's so hard to say anything without just being like everything.
Yeah.
Like I want to see what happens with Huey and the Congresswoman, but like honestly, considering he's like maybe top 3 or top 5 main character, he's like one of my least favorites. Is
Same.
Huey.
Same.
But I'm interested to see what happens with him and the Congresswoman. Obviously, I just want to see what happened with Homelander. Like just as long as they keep him.
Yeah.
I was honestly worried he was going to die somehow.
Same.
And I was like, they better not get rid of Homelander.
If he dies, I hope it's the end of the show, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. Maybe they can find someone else and do a different thing and it'd be still cool. But
So, like, I'm dying to see what the heck happens with him because, like, the fact that him, Maeve, and Starlight all still have to pretend to be buddy-buddy when he wanted to kill Starlight earlier in the season, and now Maeve has, like, kind of been turning on him, but, like, has officially been like, hey, I have evidence against you. I will leak it. Like, I don't like you. You're torturing me about being a lesbian. Because obviously he's not liking her either because he was torturing her about being a lesbian. He was making her do all these weird lesbian scenes in the movie
and
making fun of it.
And he's got, like, a girlfriend at that point, and he's still torturing her because she's
not with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that's when it comes back to his obsession with being loved by everyone.
Yeah, because she even says, if I stop seeing her, will you leave it alone? Basically. And he's like, what? Come on, you're in love. Come on, babe. You know, it's like, I want to keep torturing you. So, yeah, the fact that the three of them still have to have some kind of relationship and still work under Vought, like,
right.
Dying to see what happens there. I kept thinking it was going to happen this season and it didn't. I'm assuming at some point we're going to get a Black Noir exposition.
Yeah. Something's gonna develop with him for sure.
And then I'm just interested to see if Stormfront's alive and if they bring her back or not. And then I'm assuming you're most interested about Homelander's kid because I was gonna say that's an interesting thing too.
Yeah, I want to see what they do with this kid. If they even touch on it in season 3, if they wait for season 4 to come around and he's like older and knows how to use his like powers and he becomes a threat as well, or he becomes a hero, fights his dad, something there. I'd love to see how they sort of nurture that. I would like
a LeBron versus Bronny thing.
Yeah, dude, like 2 of the greatest basketball players ever. Anyway, skip. Stormfront. I want to see if she's alive. I'm assuming she's probably dead. I doubt she lived through that.
She's still sitting there speaking German.
I love her character because she's so evil and she's so cool and she's so like chilling and just I don't know. Ridiculous, like every way about it. And I love, she's dying there on the ground. We never hear her speak German ever, and she's like, her last words are in German. It's awesome. It's the best thing ever.
She does all these things really well. She does that whole, like, pretend to be nice buddy thing where she's like sweet, and then she does like the sadistic sweet where she's like trying to tell Ryan, she's like, hey Ryan, buddy, they're trying to kill us because of the color of our skin. We have to form an army and kill them, sweetie. And Homelander's like does that face that he makes after she like tries.
He's got some great faces.
The face he makes after her explaining to little Ryan that, you know, basically they're Nazis and they need to kill everyone else. He's like, whoa, what? Yeah, Ryan, so just, do this now. So anyway, her sadistic suite, and then she's got, like, the I'm going to get everybody riled up, like, I hate everything type of person. Then she's got, like, the I'm too cool for school, sarcastic, poop on everybody. And then she's just got, like, the straight-up evil, you've pissed me off, like, whenever she's yelling at Annie and Starlight or whatever at the end.
Yeah.
Like all of that. Like she's got like 6 different faces that she pulls off seamlessly.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Honestly, it's insane. A couple of other things, like wild things, is Lamplighter just torching himself and killing himself in front of the statues.
Wild. Didn't see it coming.
No, dude, there's another thing. There's another thing I wish they would have just cut out. Like the whole porn thing was like it was kind of funny, but it
was pretty funny.
It just went on for too long. I'm like, why are we watching someone watch porn? And it's,
I guess because that's all he's got. I don't know.
Just a weird thing to do with another dude on your last day on Earth.
Yeah.
And when you know it's your last day. I don't know. That was weird to me. I want to shout out my favorite scene in probably the whole show, where he lands in that really sketchy looking country and the guy's got the wind power and he does like this little like, ooh, bad guy's gonna get me, and then just beams him down immediately and just like, all right. He looks around and is like, oh, this place is gross. And then just jumps
Terrific.
Oh, God, it's so good.
That is the greatest.
And then he follows it up with a line of, like, what, their whole country's starving, but you got a fucking cell phone? Which is a decent point. I mean, why would he have a cell phone?
I don't know.
But I guess they are so cheap, like, to have any cell phone. So.
Yeah.
But he's such a savage and doesn't care at all about anything. That hallucination where he is being yelled at by everybody in front of him, and he just beams them all.
I thought that was real.
I was like,
I was so mad that was a dream. I was like, why do they always do that?
It's in every show. Yeah, they did it with Huey in the first season.
They do it with everything.
Yeah, it's always a hallucination. It's always an imagination. It's always, let's show the most wild thing possible and not commit to it.
Right.
This show actually commits to a lot of them, but that one...
I was like, wow.
Where do we go
from here?
Where?
Yeah.
Because everyone saw this.
Yes.
How do we... And, it's crazy. And he's so cool, man. Like, he says that line at the end where he's like, you need to give that to me or I will destroy literally everything on this earth. And you're like, yeah, you really
probably
could.
would.
You could do literally that.
You're everything they fear about Superman, but you actually do it.
Yeah, let's get into that before I assume we close out. I assume you're rounding out of things to talk about.
Yeah, I keep coming up with things and then forgetting them, obviously.
Excellent.
Something about Stormfront.
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, her sadisticness with the lab. Like, she has no problem telling Lamplighter to just kill all these kids. And the guy's like... And I didn't understand it until later, and I think they intended that. Unless people are just smarter than me. I don't know. But he's on the phone with her, and we haven't really seen the lab yet. And he's like, I don't really know what to tell him, like he's like 17 or something. Like, I don't want to really let him, you try letting a 17-year-old down like this or something like that. And she goes, I just get it over with, he's a hero. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then we find out later that he's been killing all these kids. Like, I just thought, looking back on it now, like she's savage. Like, they're both perfectly
cast and directed.
Savage animals.
Yeah. What did you think about Frenchie's backstory with him?
The fact that he's been with Mallory this whole time, basically, and that he's really the originator of the boys, and he recruited Butcher, even though Butcher's the leader now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he basically let his guard down and kind of was the cause of these people dying. Lamplighter killing these people. It was a setup, basically. Because
Lamplighter was supposed to kill Mallory, but he ended up killing Mallory's kids, and because of Frenchie, that happened.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was another wild thing, and because his friend OD'd and he had to get out of there because his friend OD'd.
Yeah. How did Frenchie get Butcher though? I forgot that part.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't help you on that one.
I just watched it too, but like, yeah, because
there's a lot to digest in every episode. It's really hard to talk about, like.
Because he gets recruited by Mallory.
Mm-hmm. I can't help you.
I can't remember how he.
I can't help you. Let me get to the things like I wanted to say before we get.
Yeah, please. I feel like I've just been ranting this whole
time. It's kind of wild how this show makes fun of and does better versions of so many different characters and universes and comics and movies.
Yeah.
Like they call themselves. Also, shout out to the Amazon Prime descriptions and things, which are really funny and not at all descriptions of what's going on. Really.
Right.
The VCU, after 12 films, it's all led to this team up. Nothing, or it says like nothing sells more than another hero fighting with another one. And I'm like, wow, that's really on the nose. The
Dawn
VCU,
of the Seven.
like the Dawn of the Seven.
Yeah.
And it's directed by a guy named Joss, which is the director of the first two Avengers, and Justice League, which is funny.
What?
I think they did that on purpose. I'm pretty sure.
The director of Justice League.
The director of the movie in the show is like they reference him like, hey, Joss, let's roll that back. He says like that before the whole video, and Joss Whedon is who directed Avengers 1, 2, and Justice League. Which I'm pretty sure they did that on purpose.
Right.
But yeah, they did that, and they make fun of the whole female empowerment thing, and filming it into a movie and giving them a lesbian scene as well, which is very much something that I'm sure is right on the cusp of happening in either DC or Marvel or both.
Yep.
And they make fun of. I mean, they do a better job of X-Men, honestly, than X-Men does most of the time.
Also,
they did a better job of New Mutants than New Mutants did.
Right.
That half episode in the compound was more terrifying than everything in New Mutants, and it was more interesting.
Yep.
And it was the same concept. It was they were giving powers to these kids to see how they reacted instead of kids just being born with them and then holding them there and trying to turn them into weapons or whatever.
Yep.
And it was more interesting. And Superman is basically, or Homelander is basically Superman, an evil Superman. But he's more interesting in every way.
Yeah.
It's more acting. There's more for him to do. There's just more of everything, and it's depressing to think about
when you look back at Superman.
Yeah, because you're I feel like I don't know anything about that character other than his powers. Whereas this character, I feel like I know so much about it, and I can't wait to see him just be on screen, let alone use his powers.
Right. Yeah. Half the time he doesn't have to be doing anything. I'm just this guy's wild. Okay, that's what I think I tried explaining this to somebody the other day. In every Batman or Superman movie, they're worried. The townspeople, the citizens, are worried about the superhero. They're worried about Batman or Superman going, well, who is this guy just running around these streets, and what if he decides to turn on us? Oh, okay, so Superman's gonna blow them all away. Batman is half a criminal himself.
Right.
But no matter what, the citizens are concerned about the hero. And what if he starts doing bad stuff, or what if he gets too bad, or he starts killing people, or what if he just does whatever he wants to do because he can? And obviously in all of those movies, Batman and Superman almost never push the limits with their powers and their abilities and kind of the free range that they have. They never even go oh, I shouldn't have killed that guy, but I did. Whoops. Never. They don't ever do anything. They're always just so pure and so good, and everything they do is for the citizens in the town of Gotham and whatever, what is it? Metropolis.
Metropolis, yeah.
But Homelander, they finally have somebody with those powers who does exactly what the citizens are afraid of, and the citizens aren't even aware of it. They love this guy.
Right.
And they aren't even aware that he's doing all the stuff that they fear in the Superman movies.
And he does both the psychopathic, terrorist, just the scariest thing you can imagine, and then he does the very PR, Boy Scout goody two shoes, America, yeah, he does such a fake thing there, and he does both, and they're both better interpretations.
Right.
And it's just weird to me that they nail all of those things. I'm trying to think if there's
anything else. And then Superman always just comes off very flat. He's just he doesn't even say anything half the time. People either worship him or are afraid of him, and he doesn't say anything or do anything.
And it's
then
just slow motion shots of him either looking up to the corner or looking down to the corner. Or
and fighting the bad guy.
Yeah, and it just sucks. I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, I love that. I love Girls Get It Done. I feel that's very on the nose of how people are trying to be more inclusive of women and things, but they're also, it's coming off as forced.
And this show makes fun of that, and then also gives women important roles without shoving it in your face.
Right.
Stillwell was super intimidating. Mallory's good. Maeve's good. Stormfront's good. Starlight's good. Like all of those.
I'm interested in the senator now.
And yeah, the senator, Ashley, the chick that went from doing coffee to now doing Stillwell's job.
Can't believe she's still alive.
I can't either, but her hair's falling out. I thought that was wild.
I can't blame her. That like seems like the most stressful job in the world.
But like, all of these characters are women. Granted, I think all of them are white women except for like the Congresswoman. So, still some progress to be made, I guess. But what I'm trying to say is
They had
like,
that Hispanic woman in season 1. They got her head blown off.
yeah, exactly. So, but basically, all of those are female characters. All of them are super strong, and none of them are defined by a man. None of them fall into typical female gender roles. Like, all of them are just people. Like, they're just in the show. They don't shove it in your face, and they're good at what they do. They're good at acting. They're well cast. Everything about it is great.
And they never do a thing. I'm sorry.
And then they make fun of the gender roles.
Yeah, in the movie, they're like, yeah, girls are getting it done.
Yeah.
We're all about the girl power.
Right. I think that's great. I think that they use women super effectively, and then they make fun of how women are treated in other shows and movies.
Right.
And I think that's all well done. And I think the show... And I think they even bring it up in the show, though. They do when they get on the talk show, the Hispanic talk show. She's like, yeah, so, like, 94% of superheroes are white. Like,
What's up with that?
4% are black, and then 2% or 1%'s like Asian, the other percent's like whatever.
Which makes so much sense.
What?
Like, why that is the case.
Why?
Because, like, the company has a heritage of...
Oh, neo-Nazi.
Of
yeah.
Nazi, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense, you know?
Yeah.
It is weird that it's a Nazi company, but you never really see Stormfront have a problem with Edgar's character, and I don't know.
But then we find out Edgar hates her.
Right. Edgar does hate her, but he also put her in the 7, you know?
Yeah, I don't get that.
And they never had any
And he
altercation.
knew that she was...
Liberty.
Right.
But that maybe that was a deal with the church thing there. I don't know. I think another thing this season did a little bit better than season 1. This is just like preferences for me. Like the whole like religion thing, when they kind of bring that up, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I really want that either. But they did like less of it this time, so it was more fine, I guess, for me. Like it was more just about like Starlight's character in this one, whereas I feel like it was a focal point of the last season, and I felt like it was a little bit more less. I don't know what word I'm looking for. Basically, like the show in the first season to me either came off as like super anti-religion or super pro-religion simultaneously.
Right.
And it was just I don't really like that kind of seriousness.
Right.
Even in a very serious show or whatever, you know. I don't know. I don't like that extreme of it. But they did a little bit better job in this. And I mean, even though they had the church, it's not really a church. It's like a cult. You know. The whatever.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
Church of the Collective.
They're the collective. It's a cult, and they use it as a cult, and it's sort of I guess a way to get people back into the 7 whenever they fall on or stuff like that. Yeah, I thought they did a better job of that. In this season.
Is it when Butcher and Edgar are talking? Because I'm trying to connect the dots here. Is it when they're talking about Edgar not liking Stormfront because she is like a racist and a Nazi? But he's like, but she sells, you know, she's like getting it done or something. She like...
I wanted to say it was between him and the Church of the Collective guy.
Maybe it is.
Because they're talking about liberty and like...
Well, they say something about how she was an original member of the collective and how she's not a fan of how it is now type of thing.
Right.
And Edgar like says something to be like, yeah, I basically keep her around or I promoted her or whatever because of
Her marketability or... whatever.
something. But then someone's like, well, how are you going to control her?
Yeah.
And then I forget what he even said after that. So, but anyway, that matter shouldn't have been blasted. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is it is confusing how she's been around since the company was created. Like, she married the guy who created Vought.
Right. So, it's 80 years.
So that's what I don't get either. The guy that created Vought was a Nazi/Hitler supporter, but then has the biggest American company. Like, how did that happen? Well, obviously, he must have come over to America after.
He probably tucked and ran, and he had all this money and was able to make this company. And he obviously had this
Compound V.
Compound V, or maybe someone in America cut him a deal for that compound or whatever, and it was born from there.
Right.
But
so
that was such a great twist. Man.
I forgot where I was going with this.
Right.
Okay, so she's been around since day one,
Right.
and she was the wife of Vought.
Mhm.
As far as we know, maybe the original person to be injected with Compound V.
Right.
But yet, her only superhero days that we know of are as she was like a B to C class superhero Liberty in like whatever state that was in, and now that was in like the 70s or 80s, and now in present day she's finally Stormfront that becomes part of the Seven. Like, what took so long for her to get to the top of the ranks?
Because so many people saw her face. I'm betting they had to wait for those people to die or forget, and they had to put her into the shadows, into the church.
What about Frederick Vought himself? How would he not be researched?
He's dead by then.
By what?
He's old.
By the time the company got big?
Yeah.
Well, how'd the company even get started? You know what I mean? If he's a Nazi.
I mean, these are all questions like I'm sure
we can't answer.
We'll either get the answer to, or they're just so technical. Like
They're not gonna
maybe
explain them.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
But yeah.
They're interesting though. I mean.
But yeah, I guess, but still, I just find it interesting that she's only been Liberty, and she just now is getting in the Seven, and then it's like, well, how did she get promoted then? Like, where was she doing before she got introduced to the Seven?
Great.
Now I almost
Yeah.
want to go back and watch like those early episodes when they're like giving you that little dialogue that you think doesn't matter that might matter now. Where they're like, yeah, this is Stormfront. She was over stationed in North Carolina. Now she's here because we need to replace somebody in the Seven.
Right.
So it just kind of it's interesting to me how powerful she is, and considering she's literally day one that she's like just now getting to where she gets in this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that.
Like, what happened to Liberty? Did we know what happened to Liberty? You know what I mean? Like, do they say that Liberty... Oh, it turns out Liberty was a racist and she was put in prison, and then Liberty becomes Stormfront.
I assume they pay off that one person who knows about the racist incident, or the few people that know.
Well, they did. The
And
$2,000.
They retire her for a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's interesting. I'm not really sure there. Let me ask you... I guess, you got anything else to say before I ask you, like, the final question? Well, I got two, I guess. What would you give this show?
What do you mean?
Like, on our scale, what would you
Yeah,
give it?
Fuego.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I thought about giving it Mad Decent for a second, because of the things I don't like. But I can't. I mean, we've talked about this show for, like, over an hour.
Well, and to me, I think
we talked about everything we loved for, like, almost that whole hour.
a testament that makes it Fuego for me, too, is when I was binging it last night.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I literally watched, like, 5 hours straight, and I was getting very tired, and I still finished. You know what I mean? Like, most of the time, I'll give up,
Fall asleep or something.
fall asleep, something. Like, made it through. And, like those 4 or 5 episodes, like, honestly went by pretty quick, considering I don't like hour-long TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, same.
So I would say it's a Fuego show. What's the other question?
Oh yeah. Jordan like briefly like talked about this to me. So I'm
Has he
like-
watched the show?
Yeah, he's watched the whole show. Yeah, and he briefly like brought up this thing I thought was interesting, like, because he said he didn't want the show to go on for too long. So like, I really wish I had another example, but it's just my exposure to television or this kind of television.
Okay.
Like your big budget, your hour long.
Yep.
10 episodes.
Everyone's watching it.
Everyone's watching it. It's like the hot thing. Like Game of Thrones to me went on for like 7 or 8 seasons. That's a long show is probably about 7 seasons. You would say like that's a long show. Like to me, like it went up for 8 seasons. The 8th season wasn't that good, but the other 7 were like really good. And then you look at something like Watchmen, which apparently was really good, and they canceled it after 1 season, even though everyone loved it and it was good. It was just they didn't have any other stories to tell. They didn't want to like stretch it out, so they just said no, we're done.
1 season.
Yeah. So like what I'm saying to you is, what would you prefer? Would you prefer this show goes on for 7, 8
No.
years, or would you want this to be like next season's the last season.
Okay, so that's a tough one to answer. Everything I'm going to say is hypocritical and neutral, but
Obviously.
you know,
I mean,
like,
obviously it's a tough question. There's not going to really be an right answer.
yeah, but
Until we know.
Until we know, yeah, that's the problem.
I mean,
so,
Seinfeld went on for 9 seasons and got better. So
right, but did it?
yeah,
Anyway,
season 2 is better than season 1. Season 3 is better than season 2.
but then after that, remember we're going to debate Signcast. Don't spoil it.
You're right, my bad.
Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. So, what I'm going to say is, yes, I don't like this show. Is so crazy, and like to me, unless they start killing more important characters than Becca, and I guess other people they've killed, like
all of the boys are still intact.
right. So like, to me, there's only so long that this can go on. Like this is a roller coaster that has to come to an end. Like I don't know how they're gonna write it to where like Homeland, like especially now because we're dying to see season 3 where Stormland I can't even get all their names right anymore. Homelander and Maeve and Starlight. Like we're already intrigued on season 3, like how that relationship's gonna play out. Like what would their relationship be in season 6? Like you're telling me we're gonna get to season 5 or 6 and like 1 or 2 of those people aren't dead? Because if they're not dead, I don't understand how they're alive.
Right.
Without, like, because to me there's just so much conflict at all times and so much tension and, like, Vought's going up and going down and Homelander's insane and the boys are obviously, like, trying to kill Soups while dating a Soup and having 2 Soups as part of their group.
Right.
If you count Starlight and Kimiko.
Yeah, Kimiko.
P.O.P.
There we go. I was like, here, say it. Just let it out.
So I don't see how this show could go on for super long without killing and replacing a lot of characters because that's just the way this show is. It's nuts. People are dying, like so violent, the stakes are so high. So yeah, if this went on 8 seasons, to me, like just that would be too long. I don't know how they could make that work. If they did and it was all good, like if 7 seasons of Game of Thrones were good, then yeah, do it because I love the show, but I just don't know how they would do that. So I would prefer it if it had to be like 5 seasons or less. I would prefer that just because I want the show to stay the way it is.
Right.
Or I mean, you know what I mean? Like I want it to stay epic. I don't ever want to be like, oh man, now they're just reaching.
Yeah.
Like now Homelander's working at Starbucks. Like what?
And it becomes okay, well, if we kill off Homelander, we have to replace him with someone. Is there anyone we could replace him with that would be as interesting?
No.
Probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
And they're like, oh, now we're going to do this. Like, it's like, I could see, like, them, if they started doing, like, this hokey stuff where, like, Black Noir becomes, like, Cleveland and gets the Cleveland show.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, stuff like that. Like, if they start just, like, honing in on things like that and kind of, like, getting away from... because Homelander's gone, it's just like I don't want any of that kind of stuff to happen.
Right. Entourage, another good example of a show that
had major characters leave.
No, just that went on for it was a 10-episode structure, went on for 8 years, and they were all great.
Right. Yeah, if they're able to keep all the major characters intact for the most part and kill off.
Also, not a show where a lot of people die or there's like that level of tension, so that's a whole different animal. But I'm just an example came to mind.
Right. Yeah. So if they can keep the main core intact and keep it interesting and to the point where I'm not like, oh, okay, like kind of reaching here because this show has kept me guessing.
Right.
So
I mean, that's arguably the best part of the show is like what crazy thing is going to happen next and you never see it coming in any way possible.
Right. Yeah, this show doesn't have too many predictable tropes. Anything that this show has that's predictable, it's always those little things that they do in all shows.
Cocking a gun before we go out to battle like 15 times.
I don't know what it was. That shit was driving me nuts. Especially like Becca. Like she's been a suburban mom this whole show, and all of a sudden she's in the basement just cocking pistols and loading magazines.
She cocks like the same one like 2 or 3 times.
I know.
Like, come on.
Very hokey. Yeah. It's like it's good. Like go ahead and put it down. You're not going to shoot anybody.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I just don't want it to get too hokey. I mean, where do you stand on that?
I mean, selfishly, I hope it goes on for like as long as possible because I don't think I've liked it. I mean, there's no other show that I like on television, quote unquote, on television, like it's concurrently running that I care about. Like, there's not one.
You should try one.
I should, but will I? No.
Why are you not watching any other shows?
I mean, I've tried a few shows here or there, but it's always just I'm not interested in it.
But this one you're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm not really watching anything else besides Peaky Blinders right now.
I mean, I'm watching Mandalorian, and like I love Star Wars,
Yeah.
but like this show is way better to me.
Right.
You know, I mean, just straight up.
Yeah, I was gonna say something earlier about Boys and Mandalorian. Like after we finished watching it, now I can't remember.
I don't know.
So you think this show is much better than Mandalorian?
I mean, as of right now, they're
Yes.
both on season 2. We haven't seen the ending of Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
I think it's better than season 1 already, just because it's a lot faster already.
Yeah.
But I don't. You know, it's not close. Honestly, I hate to say that, but it's really not even close. Like, I literally cannot wait to see the next thing that happens in this show.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, we're behind, but this season still is technically new. Like,
Yeah, it's a month or 2 old.
So.
Or yeah, it came out in September.
So we have at least, and now we're still dealing with Corona. So I don't know if it's going to be another year, maybe 2 years before they get a third season out.
That's true. I mean, yeah. Who knows with the whole, like, how hard it's going to be to shoot and stuff like that. Because they did do this season really quickly. They did it in, like, maybe less than a year.
Right.
Which is crazy. Because there's so much CGI in it, too. And there's so many different settings. That's another thing I want to give a shout out to the show. They didn't do a lot of that in one area, concrete area.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's like my number one pet peeve in a movie or a show where, like, I can tell you're saving budget and stretching time.
By putting...
When all of our characters are hunkered down in like a concrete room that's the most boring location possible, and we spend a long time in there.
I've ever since you've said that, I've looked at every setting that they're in this show.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm always like, where are they at right now? I was like, oh, they're kind of in a basement at the aunt's house, huh? And I was like, it's somewhat elaborate though. And then we saw the whole house earlier. I was like, it's okay.
It's alright. It's okay.
It's okay. We'll let it slide.
That's what this podcast is about. Is like me ruining stuff for you and you doing the same for me.
No problem.
And then we don't like anything.
Right. I mean, we love this show.
Yeah, same.
I haven't ruined anything on this show for you yet.
No.
I mean, you didn't seem impressed with my Homelander handjob scene description, but
I thought that was I thought it was funny that you found it so funny.
I thought it was the greatest.
I think things I'm gonna look for from now on are gonna be I'm gonna hand you a piece of jewelry and tell you a story to make you feel better.
Yes.
You ruined that for everything for me.
No problem. There's no way I ruined that for you.
No, I wouldn't use the word ruin. I think I'm looking forward to it now. Because
Yeah.
now I'll think I'll think it's funny for no reason.
It's a glass breaking, looking forward to kind of thing. We'll just be in the next Liam Neeson movie, and he's gonna hand some kid a pen and be like, "Yeah, my dad wrote me a letter before he died with this pen. Maybe you'll learn to write," and then me and you will just die laughing.
Roll credits. All right, man. I think that's all we got.
Well, sure you want to talk about the boys?
Next time. You know?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
All right, so we both gave Fuego. They got screwed at the Emmys. If you're not watching The Boys, make sure you do. Listen to the Sode, listen to the podcast. What is it, Sign? Probably got more Sign coming up in the near future.
That'll be a yearly goal. Like,
Yeah.
that'll take us a long time to get through that, but you know, that'll be like our side show.
Right. Well, as always, thank you guys for listening. For Reagan and Brian, you have a great night.